And now, join Kevin Hart as he dives into the minds of some of your favorite celebrities. This is Gold Mines with Kevin Hart.
Oh, shit. We're back. We're back, world. Welcome to another episode of Gold Mines, where we do amazing things. We do amazing things because we talk to amazing people. And these amazing people have amazing minds. Minds that I feel like you need to get into. Hence why I do the podcast. Today's guest is no different. I love that I can say that and I actually mean it. You know how some people say things and they prompt or amp up the world of their guests and they hype it up and then the person is said and people are like, huh? That has never happened with me on this show because I mean what I say. These are interesting minds. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is no other than Terry Crews. What's going on, Terry? How you doing, man?
What's up, Kev? How you doing, man? Oh, my goodness. Thank you for having me on this, man.
Oh, man. Thank you for being had, brother. First of all, let's address the introduction. You know, this is my favorite part of the show when I get to introduce people, right? Because I set the tone, Terry.
Okay.
It's about setting the tone, right?
I like it.
I'm excited for this conversation because I feel like there's so many lanes that we can go down. Right? Real questions with real answers. So for me, man, you know, you embrace so many different things that I admire. I think the first thing that I have to highlight is just your commitment to your household, to your family. I know that that's something that has been near and dear to your heart throughout your career. You've been vocal about that. And the other thing is your ambition, your hustle, the energy that you've put into your craft. And I don't even want to just say one version of the craft because you're multi-layered, right? You found a way to make yourself valuable in a business where some people struggle to find existence, a place of comfort, right? Where they can sustain some type of cadence, I guess you could say, that keeps them in a place of consistent work. You, my friend, have nailed that in the coffin. And I admire that because it's something that that is earned, not given, and developed over the course of time. I want to start off with the basics, man, because there's little things that I don't know. The first thing, Terry, is where are you from?
I'm from Flint, Michigan. The Flint, Michigan. The infamous Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, right now, conversation attached to Flint. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a real conversation right now.
Came up in the whole, I was born in 68.
Okay.
But this is the thing, man. Flint, when I was a kid, Flint was amazing. Flint was like Palo Alto. General Motors was the number one corporation in the world.
Absolutely.
It was Google.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And everybody worked at the shop. Everybody worked at the factory. My father worked for Buick. My grandmother worked at AC Sparkplug. Everybody I knew had a job with GM, and then it ended. When I say ended, I mean, once the gas crisis hit, once the late 70s hit, I was about 8, 9 years old and everything started to change. And then the crack epidemic hit in the 1980s and it was nuts, man. I mean, people went from the factory into being drug kingpins. It was crazy.
This is Gold Mines, hosted by Kevin Hart. Now more from Kevin Hart on Gold Mines.
Isn't it crazy now how you're talking about these eras, right? We're talking about these eras, of life. But you're now sitting, in a place where you're reminiscing of, oh my God, man, this was the era where General Motors, where if you had a job at this factory, it was it, you were set. Then it ended, then crack started. It's like you're talking about these, and right now, we're currently living in a time that we will be reminiscing about when we say things like it was when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
It was when COVID really struck the world by storm. It's when the economy took the massive dip. Like we're now living in, well, I can say me, I'm younger than you, but like hearing you talk, it makes me like really think about the fact that we're witnessing historic things that we're going to reflect back on, that after surviving, your stance is going to be significant in how you were during it versus how you are now. You talking about being young when that happened, drug pens and shit in Flint, Michigan. I mean, how close were you to the world of? Like, was it from family within or friends or what? How close?
First of all, I had family that were addicted to crack. That, I had a relative who stole my grandmother's riding lawnmower in the middle of winter.
There you go.
Drove it in the snow.
There you go.
And wait, the tracks went all the way out into the street. That's how crazy it was. And if it wasn't nailed down, it was gone. You know, my grandmother used to hide stuff in our house and it would get stolen. So, you know, there was no safe place to put anything because it was gone.
You know, my dad robbed us. My dad robbed us. He did. Swear to God, hand on the Bible. My dad was on crack. He robbed my mom's apartment.
You could trust nothing and no one. You know what I mean? And you know what was wild? Now this is what saved me though, Kev. What saved me is that I got to go to a school that was amazing, man. It was a school that picked you because of your abilities. It was a school called Flint Academy, and it was an experiment where they decided to take students. It was like, you know, a magnet school where they would take students from everywhere that had certain abilities. Some kids were about math, some kids were about sports, some kids, you know, I was about art. So basically, you know, I went to a school that basically saved me, man. And my art ability is what got me into that school. However, we were surrounded by gangsters. And I'll never forget, one day we were coming out of school and this one gang member who used to hang out outside the school took one of my shoes. Like, I had a basketball shoe. He just took one shoe. It was in my bag. He took the shoe. I go running out after him. And all of a sudden, I'm standing in front of the most notorious drug dealer in Flint history. His name was Juice. Everybody knew this dude. He was the Nino Brown of the whole city. And I was like, I thought I was going to die instantly because he looked at me and his boy stood right behind him and was like, "What you gonna do, nigga? What? I'm right here with Juice. What now? What?" And, you know, I just stood there and I tried to act like, you know, you have some confidence. You try, because I didn't have all the muscle then. I was just like, give me my shoe back, man. You know, just, I probably said it like, you know,
come on, man. It's cold.
Oh, man.
I got one shoe on, man.
I only got one.
Don't do this.
You want the sock too? What, man? So he looked at me, man. And I said, give me my shoe. And then Juice looked at me, turned, and he said, "Man, get that nigga his shoe back." Oof. And the dude threw it on the ground. And I grabbed it and I got the hell out of it. Dude, all I could think about was any sort of slight, anything, I was dead. Anything. They shot anybody for any reason, you know?
Absolutely.
Flint led the nation per capita in murders for probably 15 years straight during that time. Like,
no, let's not get it fucked up, Terry.
Oh,
let's not get it fucked up. Like, let's really acknowledge the world of what Flint was. Like, you're not talking about making it out of you know, this family environment that is all green grass and roses on the trees. Like, Flint, Michigan was the real deal. The people that grew up in Flint, stay true to that and say that.
Yes, but this is the blessing that I had. Like my art ability saved me in so many ways because I went back after my freshman year in college. I had an art scholarship to Western Michigan University, and I came back and I was working at WJRT TV 12 as an artist. And after my freshman year, and I did courtroom sketches for the worst murder case in Flint, Michigan history. And you know who I was doing the case for? It was Juice.
It was Juice again. Goddamn Juice.
And the dude that stole my shoe, they had all been killed in a big and 6 people murdered in a house. And all I could do, I was doing the courtroom sketches. I was drawing the lawyers out, drawing the defendants, and I was like, "That's the dude that took my shoe. That's Juice. That's everything." And they were gone.
Just like that.
And there I was, you know, in the courtroom doing courtroom sketches. That was my first job in entertainment.
By the way, what an amazing gig, right? Like, that's a gig that's probably not highlighted enough. Like, the courtroom sketch artist is a quick, amazing artist because they're grasping things in real time, telling the stories through the visual of personnel that's captured in the moment. You're capturing the guilty, the faces instantly. You get to see all of it. Here's my question to you. When you say art, like that was your first love, where did it come from, right? Is this an infused thing from the top? Is this mom, dad? How do you adapt to art and why?
Check this out. Again, my father was an alcoholic. My mother was addicted to religion, okay? I grew up in a church where we couldn't do anything. I couldn't go to the movies. I couldn't dance. We couldn't listen to secular music. We couldn't do nothing. You know what we could do? We could sit down and shut up. That's what we did.
Wow.
And what I did was use art because I would be in my room all the time. There was nothing to do. Like I couldn't do anything. So what I would do, because I couldn't go to the movies, I would draw what I thought the movies were. Like people would be telling me about movies and different stuff, and I would start drawing. And this is when I was 5 all the way up, man. I mean, my art ability, because what we're allowed to get was some comic books and the whole thing. So I would copy the comic books. I would just put everything I had. I'm left-handed, right brain. I would put everything I had into drawing. And people started to notice, like even my parents, even my father, they're like, hey, man, this dude got an ability here. But it was really built out of boredom.
Okay.
It was one of them things where I think if I was allowed to do all these other stuff, I probably would have never had the discipline to become an artist. But it's kind of wild how a lot of these things that at the time I viewed as, oh, man, this is a problem. It actually created a way for me. And it created a way out.
Terry, are we brothers and sisters or only child?
I have an older brother who is a half brother.
Okay.
And we had different dads. And then I have a younger sister who's actually a judge in Detroit right now.
Holy shit.
So she's younger. She's 6 years younger than me. And that was it. It was just, and I was the middle kid.
So right now, I mean, a foundation you have, right? A tough environment you're growing up in, but you got something to hold on to because you got something to love. By the way, so valuable that is, because that's what a lot of kids are missing. So many kids are missing that thing that they love, that thing that they are so close to and so intact with that it fuels the idea of a dream or the idea of the next stages. Let's talk school now, high school, college. I mean, at some point, the opportunity to play ball presents itself. When did you make the shift? How did that happen?
First of all, I begged. I had a coach. His name was Coach Lee. I'll never forget this. It was 9th grade. He was like, he said, it was so funny because he always used to say this. He said, Terry Crews, I think you have an ability to play football on a Division I scholarship. It's the way he talked. It was so amazing. It was like this Army way of talking. Terry Crews, I believe you have the ability to play Division I football on a Division I scholarship. I'm going to talk to your parents. And he went and begged my mother to let me play.
Really?
He showed up on Saturday.
Really?
And I was like, Ma, please, I think I can get, because the whole thing was I had to get out of Flint. I knew Art wasn't going to do it. Like I used to draw the T-shirts like, Mickey Mouse is a drug dealer. And back in the day, he'd be on the cell phone with the Mickey Mouse and I would sell.
Your art took a time. Your art we
would sell, it would be like playing Bugs Bunny. You know what I mean? So that's how I use my art talent around the city. I'd be like, oh, that's my T-shirt. And they would hot press them on the T-shirts and sell them for like $10. So Mickey, I knew Art wasn't going to do it, right?
Yeah.
I said, but football was going to be my way out.
I love it.
And dude, he convinced my parents. And then my father hated sports, didn't like sports at all. My mother was like, whatever, if you feel like this is going to help him. And that was my way in, man. And listen, he was the only cat that believed in me as an athlete. And that got me all the way to the NFL.
The value of a coach.
Beautiful story is that I remember playing on the San Diego Chargers, and I invited Coach Lee to a game and flew him out, and he got to stand on the sidelines of me while I was playing. We were playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and I was on the Chargers, and I was like, dude, you was the one that told me. You begging my parents is the reason I'm standing right here on the sideline.
Well, it's the importance of a coach. I mean, a coach is unbelievably influential to a child's decision and future because, they can say the things that the parents can't. What I really love is that he cracked the religious parent. My mom was a religious parent, and getting a over religious parent to understand anything outside of religion is tough. It's tough. Like my mom, it was the same thing with basketball, allowing me to play basketball. Like, I don't like it. He gonna get out there. You gonna be around them boys that don't want nothing, don't mean no good. Like it was a bunch of that shit. So, to finally get over that hurdle is a huge win. And for you to take a liking to it and get good. But here's my question. When did you realize like, oh shit, I'm kind of the shit. When did that hit?
Let me tell you something, Kev. I really wasn't good at football.
Okay.
What I could do was take tremendous amounts of pain. You understand what I mean? That was an ability in itself.
Okay.
Like, I would hit people and get right back up.
Okay.
They'd be like, dang, like, he got knocked out. No, he didn't. He's still walking. And the thing is I had a lot of anger, Kev. Like, it's hard to have two good parents and play in the NFL. Because my father was very abusive to my mother.
Okay.
Like, the reason I got muscle is I thought one day I would have to kill my father. I really did. Because he would beat her. And now it's funny because he never hit us because my mother said she would kill him. But it's wild that she would take this kind of stuff from him. Like, she didn't value herself enough. But it was so crazy. Like, there was so many mind games going on. And I realized, okay, let me get strong. Let me get tough. Because one thing is once I got some muscle, it kept the gang members off me. It kept a lot of people that was like, well, he's an athlete. Don't mess with him. Because he looked like he's gonna go somewhere.
He's got a future. He can put Flint on his back. Like what it's weird. Like when you talk about neighborhoods like that, the neighborhoods invest in the people that seem to have a way out because of what they can become and what it would mean to the city, right? So I definitely understand that. And although I wasn't in a household where I was able to see physical abuse up close, I can only imagine when you say the mind games, right? Like the mental tear that can basically cause. Like as a young man that I can only imagine or hope that loved his mother to see that had to be fucking crucial, right?
Brutal.
Did you ever have a moment where you felt like the face-off was coming? Like getting the muscles is one thing, mentally thinking about it. Did it ever almost happen where you were like, fuck, this is it? This is the day?
First of all, never while I was in that house.
Okay.
Because he was too powerful. It was a mental block. You know what I mean? One time he actually broke his toe kicking me in my ass.
God damn.
Because he literally kicked me and it broke his toe. And I was just kind of like, well, I'm so sorry. Like, I was apologetic to him. You know what I mean? Because I was like, man, I didn't mean to do that. And he kicking me. You know what I mean? That's how mentally it was messed up because he had this mind thing on us,
What is that? What do you think that is for that man from then? Right? Like, like that man from those times that had the household that was going to work and, like you said, whether it's the factory, whether it's, on the line or whatever it is, what the fuck was that anger? Like those men that had the anger to where their family got the butt end of the stick. Like, fuck y'all. Like, what was that?
I always thought about that. And I thought that it came from, they had big, big dreams. Okay. And a lot of times they felt like they had to sacrifice all the things they wanted to do for y'all. But now I got to take care of this family. Now I'm locked up. Now, and they, there's a lot of resentment that comes from that, man. That's a whole lot. I do feel like my father resented us. You know what I'm saying? It was one of the things he looked at us like, man, if I didn't have y'all, I could be doing this or I could be doing that.
Was that an older realization? Like, is this Terry Crews at the age now, or is this Terry Crews, after the NFL in his 30s and 40s? When does that realization hit?
That's now. That's literally therapy.
Okay.
That's after like 10 years of therapy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you start to break down what things meant, A lot of things I had to just blink past. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have time to sit down and assess it. It was just, this is the thing too, man. You talk about working a lot. And I got very, very motivated. Like, I got to work. I got to, for me to get more, I realized I had to do more. And so I became an overachiever. But the problem is that overachievers and underachievers have the same thing. It's like an underachiever sleeps under a bridge, but an overachiever sleeps under a bridge that he owns. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes something to hide behind. It becomes where I put all my pain and all my stress and it's like success is it's a warm place to hide.
Wow.
So you don't really have to know me. You don't really have to get, I can't let you see me. You see what I mean? And so I hide in overachievement.
That's powerful.
High in becoming this and this and this and getting this title and getting this name and being this person. And, and again, this is literally after years of kind of breaking this down.
You're unpacking something that I can tell you've worked on, right? Like this, I think what I'm most blown away by is the awareness, the comfort in talking about what you're now aware of, the realization of what the shit is and why it is, and anger, resentment, but making sure that I now manifest and create and do without having that thing act as a fucking crutch or a sore or a scab that I keep peeling back, right? Like when you say anger, like I spark plug in these conversations. And by spark plug, I mean there's words that act as highlight words where I'm able to go back and keep the conversation going, etc. And when you say like, I had a lot of anger, and I played when I was football, I was angry at that time. So when you started to use that anger turned into success, and you're like, fuck, I gotta work, right? At this point, when you hit lows during these times, were you attaching the lows to that shit too? Or were you making the lows personal?
No, let me tell you, Kev, what happens is I became my wins. Like when I became my wins, I was better than everybody else. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
It was like I finally achieved levitation status. But the problem is, if you become your wins, you must inevitably become your losses. So when that drop happened, it hit hard. I was lower than everybody else. It's this thing, man. It became where there's human, and then there's above human and below human. You know what I mean? And all these, shame acts like all these, it keeps you either above it or below it. But just being human means you just whole. You're just one person. You good and bad, you everything. But I didn't have that. I had to be either above or either I was beneath you. And that was a problem. And this is so wild because, the industry, even as entertainment, it becomes an effort to become above. You know what I mean? It becomes an effort to like, man, now I can be accepted. Now, because I have this name, now you know who I am. But the problem is if you don't have this stuff together, you're still empty, because there's going to be a day you don't get picked. There's going to be things you lose out on. Now, you got to understand, my highs were super high, and my lows, man, they were the darkest days you could probably ever imagine. And I was just going up and down with all of that, man. My wife, and this is so wonderful because I've been married for 34 years.
30, I was going to say, you're a 30-year. I know that.
And
I know that.
Oh, dude. And I look at her, and there's times I look at her like, whoo, you put up with a whole lot. She's like, hell yeah, I did. She put up with every one of the mood swings, all that, man. It was like, she'd be like, Terry, I love you. Why are you? But it wasn't enough. Like, even her love wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Because you fight, because you feel undervalued. You feel like, or I'm better than all y'all. So y'all got to listen to me. You know what I mean? And, and when you're talking about the other generation, the bad things I picked up from my dad was that the fact that I felt like I owned my family. You see what I mean? It's different than loving your family. Loving your family is freedom and peace. But owning your family is a whole nother thing. If they don't do what you say, I used to withhold my love from my kids. I used to, not talk to them. I used to stonewall them. They'd be like, hey, Dad, I walk past them. You know what I mean? Like, because one day they got to find out. They got to learn. They got to learn like I learned.
Yeah.
And it's wild because I was trying not to be that. I was trying not to pick up them things, but I picked them up anyway.
I had a conversation, Terry, right, where I was talking. It's crazy. I was actually talking to Will Smith. We had a great conversation. We were just talking about our kids, and in the conversation, I was like, what helps me so much is I'm able to say, my kids didn't ask to be born into what they are born into. And I remember in the beginning stages, with my oldest kids, when I just be like, yo, you gotta learn. Like, I gotta make sure that you guys understand how hard it is out here. And it's like, well, it's not the same for them. Like, I'm trying to put this hammer down on them, but their paths is different because of their opportunity. I didn't have the same. So my hardship isn't theirs. I can't act as if it's the same or have the same stance that I did when it doesn't match. It doesn't match. But that thing, that energy that we have in what you're saying, I understand where you're coming from, because we got such a thick layer of skin based off of what we made it through. And y'all don't know.
Yep.
Y'all don't know what the fuck it takes. And sometimes that thing can come off in the wrong way. Where are you at? Like, when you say, my kids, man, I had to learn to love. Like, did you feel like you hit a wall with those relationships? And did you feel like you saw them distance themselves and it made you go, okay, I gotta change. This thing has to change, and I'm realizing it me. What was the thing that made you go, I have to find change to make myself better for this environment?
It really started right after our 20th anniversary, and my wife left. She left. She was like, that's it. It's over. And then my kids were distant. And here, I was very successful, Kevin. You know what I mean? Like, out in the street, everybody was like, Terry Crews is doing great things. He's got movies and TV shows. But I knew in my heart, I'm like, man, but my life in my house is a mess. And dude, that's when I hit therapy. Like, I really, because you got to understand too, growing from a religious household, it was told that therapy was like demonology. Like, they going to put them demons on you and all this stuff. And it was quackery. It was, you can't cure crazy. That's what it was told. Like, you can't do that. So if you're crazy, it ain't gonna work. And then my father had a psychiatrist that he saw, and the man jumped off a bridge. And I was like, that don't work. He killed himself. I was like, and so I had this aversion for years. And the first time I went in was because I was alone, because my wife had left and she was like, you can't come home. And I was like, wow. And I went in and I started learning.
Back at the bottom again.
First thing they asked me, they was like, is your father alcoholic? I was like, yeah. And said, was your mom very religious? I was like, how'd you know that? And I was like, they started reading my mail, you know what I mean? And all these things started to come out, man. And I had to just break it down. Like, why am I thinking the way I'm thinking? Then over years and over all this learning, I went back and apologized. And I went back, man. I had a lot of writing, man, where I had to write down and be honest about the violence that I had done to my family, not physically, but mentally. Like, and just even verbally, it's just still bad, And like I said, it was those rules. Just to me, you have to go through the worst of times to know that you're in the best of times. You know what I mean? Like, we had been through, but my kids, like you said, they have a whole different temperature. Like, they've been living a whole nother way, but I was applying the same rules, and it was brutal. It was brutal. It was unforgiving.
More Gold Mines with Kevin Hart after this. Now back to Gold Mines with host Kevin Hart.
It's crazy, T, man. First of all, this is such an amazing conversation. And this is why I love the tone and temperature of the show, because you can't plan this. You can't prep this, right? Like, you can't, hey, Terry, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna unpack all this shit on this podcast. That's not what this is, right? You gotta talk.
I know, it just gotta come.
What I really love here, man, you said something, and I want to go back to it, right? You're talking about, at the time, the visual of Terry Crews is one of, oh my God, Terry Crews is on top of the fucking world, right? I mean, we skipped it, but there was a transition from football where you figured out what to do after, and then the acting bug presents itself. But oh my God, you starting to find success in acting. You're in movies, you're everywhere. It's starting to go and blossom. And you're talking about it this time when the world sees Terry Crews. It's, oh my God, there's Terry Crews. We love him. But in this moment of receiving love, you're not feeling loved. and you're at the fucking low. Families falling apart, shit's in shambles, and there's nothing. I think there is nothing more. I will say the thing that defines the character that we've discovered, that we find out that we have, who we are, is in these moments. Because it's in these moments when it's very easy to go, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. Fuck everybody. It is what it is. I'm done. Like, and you fold.
Yep.
You choose the role of a chair and you fucking fold.
Yep.
And you lay down, and then somebody eventually picks you up, puts you in a corner, and that chair is not forgotten about and never used to sit on again. But it's the other side of it that goes, fuck, man, I'm down. I'm not right, but I'm gonna figure this out. And Terry, like, that's the part that I'm like, wow. It's not the muscles. It's not the fucking height. It's not the goddamn career. Like, at this point, it's the opportunity to take the choice of a folding chair and go, that's not me, and then choose to correct it. After correcting it, what was the winning factor that you felt? Well, I don't want to use the word winning because that's not the right word. What was the thing that you felt acted as a display of real change and chance? Like, what's the thing that the fan was like, wow, dad really is trying? What do you think that thing was?
Hey, man, it was one moment. I'm going to tell you this, man. I get choked up when I think about it because it's incredible. We were all in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is my son spilled the drink on the table and was water everywhere. And I stood up and I said, hey, man, that's okay. You know, we all make mistakes. It's all good, man. We'll just get some more water. Now, Kev, everybody at the table was like looking at me, eyes wide open, like, I can't believe this. My wife looked at me like, what? Because you understand what would have happened before.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know, I paid for all
goddamn, boy.
Man,
goddamn, boy.
You drink some water? Good Lord. You know, like, damn. I was like, what? You ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got hands, use them. You know, oh, dude. And wait, he 3. You know what I mean? It would have been brutal. And, you know, he had 4 older sisters. They would have went running, screaming. He spilled the water. You don't know how many events I ruined. How many things, because I went off and wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And my wife is like, you're just out of control. My wife looked at me, man, and she said, Terry, you different. You different, man. Terry. And I couldn't believe it because it caught me off guard when she said it. Because I've been doing this thing. And she was like, Terry, hey, man, you are a different person. And that was the moment I knew I was never going back. Like, never, ever, ever. That patience, that empathy, that care. I'm wiping up the table. And we continue today. Oh, my God, Kev. That was the moment everything was different for me, man. Now, again, this was years after the therapy. I got to say it. We was like 8, 9 years in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You saw a return in the investment. Right? You saw a return in the investment. I got a doozy for you right now. After the change, after noticing the change, you're still in the entertainment business. You're still very much a person that's embedded into this thing. And this machine is what drives the car of negativity at times. This is what drives the car of that monster, that ego, like that we just were discussing. I gotta be the best. Am I not the best? Where am I? What is your stance now in the business? How do you approach your craft now? Right? Like, have things changed for you mentally in the space of work? And if so, how? I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I got 2 sayings, and this is really the essence of how I approach the business. I would rather be whole than good. I would rather be happy than right. And this is what I mean. You know, before I was all about my image. Before it was all about the goodness of Terry Crews. Boy, he got it all together. Make sure, you know, I would never open my wife's car door if nobody was looking. You know what I mean? But soon as somebody's looking, I'm running over.
I got you, baby. Hold on. I got you.
One day she called me on it. She's like, you're a fucking fake. You a fake. You fake fucking. And wait, and the people was out there filming. I was like, shh, be quiet. I was like, don't, you fucking fake. I said, but no. And then I turned to the cameras like, she playing. She's like, I ain't playing. You a fucking fake. Listen, I pull up at the house. I'm like, girl, open the door. Open the damn door. You know how to open it.
We home. We home. Why you acting helpless? Get your ass out the car.
See, but now, Kevin, when I say I'd rather be whole, meaning good and bad, everything. You see, this is why I've been so transparent. Like, now you know. A lot more people know more about me than I know about them. You know what I mean? Because I've been really just telling it for years. After the therapy, I've been telling the thing with pornography addiction and telling the stuff about me and my wife breaking up and getting it together and telling all the issues, even personal issues with my dad and all this stuff. And it made me whole. And some people, listen, and this is the thing. Now I know there are people who love me. There are people who don't give a damn. And there are people who hate my guts. And I'm fine with all three of them. You understand what I mean? That's what being whole makes you. Being good, if I couldn't impress you, I would do whatever I had to do to impress you. Like, if you didn't like me, you held the key. You know what I mean? I was like, I gotta somehow get your favor. You know what I mean? And that would cause, listen, but I can't do nothing about people not liking me. There's nothing I can do about that. You know what I mean? And I realized, let it go, man. And it's and that's where when I approach entertainment like this, it's refreshing, man. Or listen, in fact, I don't have to be right. I'd rather just be happy. Like, okay, man, you the right one, then fine. But now I'm going to go into my job grateful for every opportunity I get. And understanding that this is a blessing, this is an honor, this is a place, this is an honor and a privilege to serve people. You know what I'm saying? Through entertainment. And not treat it like, oh man, I gotta do this and no, I get to do this. You know what I mean? It changes the whole framework, Kev. And all of a sudden, when I had that mindset, opportunities keep coming. You know what I mean? It's like jobs keep coming, people keep coming. The levels keep getting bigger and greater, but with no loss. And I said, man, this is how I want to live. This is how I want to be from here on out. I don't need anybody's approval, but I know I'm giving everything I got every time I do it, out of respect for the craft, out of respect for my audience, and out of respect for people. And now I'm good. And whatever, if you don't like it, cool. If you do, great. I'm with you.
You're on the other side. You're on the other side of life. And I'm not talking about age, I'm talking about understanding, right? Like, I'm chasing that. I'm not chasing, but I'm discovering that I'm much closer to the realization of some of the things that you're talking about, right? And like you're talking about that H word, and that H word is like, people don't really, I don't think people understand the true definition of it through a certain time of their life. We think we understand what happy means. We think we have an idea of what happy is, but it's not until you get to a point of true happiness and release that you go, oh, this is it. Oh, this is the clear side of it, where you're able to be who you are 1,000%. And that's a journey. It's a journey to get to that place. It's a journey to become that person. It doesn't matter who you are. 1,000% that's not 100. 1,000% is 1,000. So, as I'm talking to you, I'm realizing like, you're at that 1,000% mark, and you're at that to your point, whole happy mark, where at the end of the day, you're just happy that you go to sleep knowing who the fuck you are, and knowing that you are 1000% honest about who you are, and there's no fake or wool or door that has to be opened up to get to see. Like I've got to a point to where this is it.
Yeah.
The foundation to your building is built with different brick now. Where before, motherfuckers, to your point, could come and kick those bricks down,
Bruh.
and you can have holes all in your house.
Listen, I
right?
like Legos. I would never tell people I love playing with Legos. They'd be like, I put my stuff together and all that. And before I would change to whatever scene I was in. You know what I mean? Okay, they don't like this, so okay, I don't like it right now. Like, you like that movie? I'll be like, well, what do you think? And then all of a sudden, you don't like it? Nah, I don't like it. You know, I didn't have an opinion. You know what I mean? Now I'm unapologetic. I mean, it's about being who I am. I'm a flautist. That's what I do. I'm okay with that. I like Legos. I do that. I'm not ashamed to say the things that I like and the things that I don't. And I'm not ashamed to have a viewpoint. You know what I mean? And to really just say, this is how I feel about this thing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people didn't like certain things that I've said before, but it's okay. That comes from the therapy. It comes from like, hey, man, I have to be honest with myself. Because if you're lying to yourself, bruh, what do you have? You got nothing. You know what I mean? And that's where I was. I was always telling myself a story. And now I'm living it. Now I'm living, doing. And it's so refreshing, bro. And and again, who knows, man? Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be in entertainment forever. Like, it's one of those things where I get satisfaction doing a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the business. But at the same time, I'm not going to do anything I don't love. And when you see me on AGT, I love that show. I love being that host. When you see me on a TV show, when you see me acting, I chose that. And I want people to really be inspired. Like, man, he giving everything he got. And everything I've ever done, I want to be known that I gave everything I had. And to me, that's a great place. You know what I'm saying? It's really just giving everything you got without that judgment. Because, one thing about this is that judgment kills creativity. That's one thing I discovered. When you're judging things, you can't be creative. It stops. And so I stay in this mode of creativity so that I can't be, I get rid of all the judgment and I just operate in love out of respect for the business, out of respect for all of the fans and the people that love what I do. But I don't know if I'm going to be in, Hollywood forever. It's one of those things where I find satisfaction in so many other things as well. It's like I thought I would be a football player forever, and I went way past that. And I think it's almost going to be the same thing with Hollywood or any of this stuff, where there's more stuff for me to do that's past all of this. It's a different purpose. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying 1000%, like a person that has the cadence to talk in front of people that identify in the same space, right? Like when you go to the motivational speaking or conferences and you see a motivational speaker or somebody that knows how to uplift, that knows how to relate, like that's almost like off season, on season, right? Like, your acting can be one portion of a season, and then you have this other side that acts as a significant, I guess you could say portion to what you can do. The world of story, man, like Terry, I had no idea. And your story we're talking, and this has been 40 minutes that we've been talking. So, I can only imagine what your story would look like through the course of said pages, right? Like if you were to go and really, really put that down and give people an opportunity to really understand you, look inside, but only for the sole purpose of giving other people the confidence that they can talk and that they can free themselves as well. That journey, that's a fucking special journey, man. That's a special journey.
I did write a book. It came out last year. It's called Tough. It's called Tough. It came out last April.
Look at that layup. Look at that fucking layup.
I know, like,
Look at that layout.
Hey,
Huh?
And it's everything I'm talking about right now. Everything.
God damn it, Terry, we're gonna do it correctly. Guys, you saw how interested I was in the story, and the first thing that I said, with knowing that, I suggest you educate yourself. We don't normally do the plugs. We don't normally do promotion or marketing on here. No, it's because it's just conversation. So this is why I'm telling you why I like this moment. Like this is a fucking thing where you should. I'm gonna fucking get it. Because I want to read it because there's so much that I relate to. The book is called Tough. And by the way, amazing title. Amazing fucking title.
It is. That's it.
I got another doozy for you. So now, right? Changed man. I mean, God, we went through the stages, and as we went through the stages, we've peeled back layers. I want to know what are the family events now, right? Like, kids are older. Like you said, you got a 30 plus year marriage at this point, right? When you guys get together now, what's the change? Is it a location? Is it just a house? Are the dinners more specials? Are the talks more specials? Is it the games? What's the amplification of love and environment now, with dealing with the new version of dad, the understanding and loving version? Not that you didn't love before, it was just a tougher love, right? So like, what's the tone and temperature now with the fam?
You know what, the tone and temperature now is listening. I have 4 daughters, and my son's the youngest. And I realized with my girls that I never really listened, even when they were young. You already know that you got the answer before they even open their mouth. You know what I mean? And now I just listen and let them know that I am 100% in their favor of, and it's my job as a father, but to help them achieve what they want, not what I want, which is another thing that I used to do, where it was all about, I had this plan for every one of my kids that, if you ain't doing it, then you off. And I realized that it's got to be what they want. And I'm listening. And, sometimes they get real brutal. Like they can come up to me and tell me what they didn't like, what they can be honest with me, and it won't come with repercussions. But at the same time, it's just literally listening and hearing every last one of my kids, which is something that we did not have when they were younger. And they're adults. I mean, my oldest daughter she's 36. It's wild. 36, then 30, then 24, then 20, and my son's 17. Me and my wife about to be out the house. But our job, and me and my wife, is just to literally give them that guidance, man, and give them that support and that security, man. And I feel great about where we are, man, as a family.
Is there a stage of like, when you're talking about, I don't know if I want to do this, and maybe there's something else after, is the thought of retirement on your mind, or is there a concept of that, or what it looks like?
Never.
No.
I'm too angry. It just, you gonna see me out there fixing the street, something. There is no work is ingrained in me. Like I wake up literally 4 or 5 in the morning, like, boop, I got to do something. Like, boop, boop. I did a 2-hour workout just so I can get to normal. You know what I mean? I have endless energy. I'll be 55 this year, and I have nothing but energy. I'm always looking for stuff to do. You know what I mean? I can't turn off because it's so much fun, but now it's just about channeling it in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not worrying about the outcome, not worrying about what people say about it. It's just put the work down, put the work out. You got to ship it. You know what I mean? Show it. And that's where I'm at. I'll never retire, by the way. Never. It's literally a change. It might shift, but I'll be out there. Like I said, if I'm a motivational speaker, I'm on the road. I got to go. Let's go. Book me up. You know what I mean? Let's go.
I love the energy. What's the world of like what you want to do, right? Like, is there anything left that you feel you haven't done in the business that you would love to do? And that can be from TV to movies to, live entertainment to, whatever across the board. Like you're talking about tapping into the world of journalism, being an author, your book Tough. I mean, that's a stage. Is there more just on the side of want from Terry Crews?
Wow, man. I've done pretty much a lot, but
Done a lot of shit.
I've done a lot. But my thing right now is it's kind of wild because I still haven't directed. And I want to direct. There are projects that I have in my head that I'm like, I've produced some things, I've acted in a lot of things, but there are ideas. It's just like drawing a picture that I grew up with. And I came to Hollywood to be behind the scenes and direct and never had a chance to do that yet. And that's coming. That's coming. So,
by the way, that'll keep you busy for a minute.
Yeah.
You start to get behind that goddamn chair, you'll be fucking 85.
I know.
85. You can always say cut. You can always say action.
That's right.
You can always walk to the next location to sit in the chair. You can always do that.
That's right.
Terry, man, this was a conversation that I not only enjoyed, I just learned a lot from. I listened to a lot of the things you said. A lot of the stuff resonated with me, and for different reasons, right, dude? I want to congratulate you just on your growth, on the work that you've put in on yourself, on maintaining through the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, the world of family, man. At the end of the day, we don't highlight that world of good woman enough, but man, when you get one, you sometimes don't see it until shit is almost no longer. And you got a fucking golden one, you got a good one, and what that woman has endured and sat through, and while maintaining the foundation of family around her, man. So amazing shout out to the wife, amazing shout out to you. And I love the fact that you're vocal and transparent about it, man, because there's people out there that need to hear this. There's people out there that need to understand, like, there's always a world and way to recovery, but you got to want to do the work, and you're an example of doing the work, brother. It's a beautiful fucking thing to see and now understand.
Listen, I got to give up to you, man, too. You've been a brilliant example in this business, man. The work ethic is unparalleled. It's beautiful. You have shown everybody that if you want more, you must do more. You are a thinker. You are a planner. You have laid out like destinies for so many people under you, man. I just want to thank you for just laying out all these things, the jobs, the people, the opportunities you've given so many through your comedy, through your voice, through your world. I remember going to your studio, man, and you inspired me, man. I built the studio in Pasadena because I went to your place. I said, man, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing? I said, I ain't doing shit. Kevin Hart is doing all that. Man, and listen, it's not a competition, but I was like, man, you got to get busy. You know what I mean? It's like, you was highlighting like, man, you ain't no excuses, bro. Like, and I went, damn it, you're right. Thank you for being that person. You see what I'm saying? That showed us what could be possible. You know what I mean? You exist to show us what's possible, man. Thank you.
Iron sharpens iron, and that's what we did today, man. We really did. Like I'm inspired. I'm motivated, and it's just to discover more about myself, dude. Yeah. Like I just like the journey that you put on display of self, and that's the one thing that you're always working on, yourself. So for my listeners, You know what's special about this podcast? It's the gold that we're able to pick up, and I'll be damned if we didn't get that today. This is Gold Minds, and you know what we do? We get inside the minds of amazing people, and like I told you at the top, today would be no different. What an amazing mind this was, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Crews.
Love you, Kev.
Hey, love you back, brother.
Gold Minds with Kevin Hart is a Sirius XM and Laugh Out Loud radio production and executive produced by Kevin Hart, Mike Stein, Brian Smiley, Eric Eddings, and Eric Weil. Produced by Danny Sellers and Leslie Guam. Engineered by Danny Sellers.